So, one of the most common questions is how to overcome family arguments, how to communicate better. This is a very, very complex question, very difficult question. It's not going to be solved just by watching this video. It requires nurture, support, the right counseling, the right coaching over time as well, not to mention the right investment in the relationships. But one of the first things is to actually have dedicated family time. You can do this also with a partner if you're having difficulties in a relationship, but having dedicated time where you have a day and a time where you sit down to talk about issues. When we went through family therapy, myself, my brother, my mum, um, we it was actually we recommended by one of my mentors at Lighthouse, by Paul at Lighthouse, that take an hour every Sunday to sit down and talk, to work on your relationship. We called it relationship building time. Because if we can't take that dedicated time to work on our relationship and it's not that important, then what can we do? We'll book a meeting with a client, we'll book a meeting with a friend, we'll not book time with our own nearest and dearest. And that time is dedicated for you guys to talk about what's going on, what's happening in the relationship, what are the issues. So one thing, the first thing is booking that time, that relationship building time. Secondly, is when you get there, this is the most difficult thing. It's about understanding, because everyone wants to get their point across. Everyone wants to be heard. There's lots of cross talking that happens. You can do this with something called the Indian talking stick method, um, where you have an object. And I mean, I'm using my phone here, but you have the object, and until you hand the object, you can use a ball or whatever it is, to the other person, you only pass it over when you're satisfied that you've been heard. And then you pass it over to the other person. They can't interrupt you. And when you pass it over to the other person, you can't interrupt them. So everyone gets a chance to be heard, and you can pass it backwards and forth and saying, do I understand you correctly? Are you saying this? So you repeat back, you paraphrase back what the other person has just said, not your own point of view, which you probably want to just fire. But you said this. No, but it wasn't like that. You said this. You know, your job is to be there and listen. That's the most important thing. And Stephen Covey spoke about the Indian talking stick method in the 7 Habits under seeking first to understand and then being understood, which is an essential book I would always recommend. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Go and get it, go and read it, go and immerse yourself in it if you haven't already. And that chapter, Seek First to Understand and Then Be Understood, is essential if you've got communication issues. But those two things, dedicating relationship building time and having a place and a space where you can start to listen and understand one another, the most important things. Easier said than done. And if you need any help, just give me a shout. God bless.